Boys, it took me nearly a decade to go from the chest genetics to where you just think there's not a chance in hell I'm ever gonna grow a chest. That was me. Until I learned what actually grows the size of your chest. I'm talking about pure mass here. We're also gonna make your chest extremely strong. We just have to focus our attention on the right stuff. So without further ado, let's get in today's video. All right, we're gonna put a shirt on because now I have the credentials, right? Yo, these guys, your chest ain't that big. If I wear a shirt, that's the shit you guys will say. All right, but the way we wanna focus on building mass is by understanding what the biggest muscle is of the chest. And that's basically gonna be the midline of your chest, because there's technically a sternocostal head, I believe is what it's called, and that's more lower. Some people don't even think it's part of the chest, but I do. You have your upper chest, but the middle part of your chest, your pectoralis major, is the one that's going to be doing the heavy lifting when it comes to pure mass. Now, when it comes to poking out your chest, I'll place it down in the description, and that way you actually have an idea of how to do that. But we have to build mass up, because if we don't have mass built up, then there's nothing to pop out. There's not enough meat on the bone. So what I like to do is the flat bench. By the way, before we get started and get right into the video, we talking like gentlemen, because here on this page, we're here to bring back class. And honestly, this space has lost all class. It's gone soulless. It's all about flashy. Nah. Legacy over flash. And legacy, you know, we like to have big pecs before we go out. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let's get into today's video. All right, so we want to do a flat bench, and it's something you guys are like, dude, I already do flat bench. I would highly recommend you do it on the Smith machine or even a machine itself. We're talking about pure mass here. Now, I'm not someone who really likes Smith machines, I would be completely honest. It's not that I disrespect them, but I don't like the idea of having, you know, people say fake muscle. People are being facetious when they say that. There's no, like, when you build strength, it's strength, but I like it to be applied to other areas. But listen, it doesn't require that much time. This is the difference. I promise you, it's just about placing your efforts in the right ways. You don't need nearly as much time as you think you do. But we want to pick something that's really going to move the needle for you, and especially if you have a stubborn chest, the Smith machine is going to help you out a ton. Now, the way you're doing these exercises does make a hell of a difference, because on the back end, I'm going to show you something that people do not talk about, they disrespect way too often, and I'm really excited for you to watch the end of the video. But the way you want to set this up is really important, because you kind of want to be at a grip to where it's kind of shoulder width apart, right? Maybe a little bit beyond. And then from there, you want to make sure on the Smith machine, you are touching on the nipple line. Pause. But what I like to do is I like to come down to where I feel a stretch, retract my scapula, and that's your cue to come up. And then from here, you just bang out reps. I need to go heavier. That's another thing. Boys, go heavy. When I say heavy, heavy as possible with quality reps. You want to ideally fail to where you clearly are progressing. You can operate, for me, I don't really operate beyond 10 reps when it comes to pressing, and that's just because pressing is great to take advantage of strength, but it's also going to give you the muscle growth you want. Less time, better results. That's what we're here for. Let me put on some extra weights. Uncle Rami, how much is that? To be honest with you, I'm not really sure, but let's see, 20, 15, 35. I don't know. It's like, we could definitely go heavier than this. Yeah, we can go heavier. Screw it. Yeah, no, I kind of want to show proper form, even if I get higher reps, because that's going to be the key difference here. Yeah, 100%. Yes, we could have gone a bit heavier, but listen, our goal here, you're not here to watch me lift a ton, right? You're here to kind of learn like, hey, dog, I'm kind of struggling with this thing. So I really want to show proper reps on this, but go as heavy as possible with quality reps. Like I said, you come down now. And you take it to complete failure like a proper man. You know what I'm saying? By the way, that was actually perfect weight for that. But what I like to do is I think of it as, you know, how many sets, how many whatever. But if you think of it as quality, you really need 2 to 3. 2, in my opinion, to knock it out the park. 3 in the back pocket, just in case you didn't come in the way you wanted to. But on this, because it's stable, you want to make sure you take advantage of it. It's a stable movement. That's why I'm not a huge fan of Smith machines in general, just for overall physical prowess. But when it comes to growing the muscle, it's perfect. Your job is to make sure that you are setting it up properly, touching the nipple, exploding up, just like that. But on the back end, I want to show you an exercise that everybody disrespects, and this actually has a lot to do with even the rest of your body. Not only are we going to hit up chest, but other muscles that's only going to help you out in terms of performance, more muscle growth, fat loss, all of it. Let's do it. Crusadia will be the very first digital country. You heard me. Digital nation, digital country. When I say it, there will be citizens, there will be mayors eventually, and then there will be residents. However, for the very first few, because I am only going to open it for 1 week, you will have instant citizenship. You will create the country with me, because the biggest problem in the world today is two things. People want to massively improve their lives, but take it a step further. They are forced to do so in a way that is completely isolated. The reason why they're isolated is for one reason. And what's that reason? You have bad company around you, you're kind of forced to isolate. And that also means, you get to do things your way. And that means having heart in a beautiful spot. But the problem is, you want to massively improve your life, but you're forced to do it by yourself. That's why things like monk mode have been glamorized. And it's because no one's been able to solve this problem. This is exactly what I aim to do. If that sounds like you're the outlier in your life, you're the outsider, you're someone that hasn't been able to do the things that they want to do with the people they love because they don't get it, this is what I'm creating it for. I've had to do this thing all by myself, and let me tell you something, extremely overrated. But I had to do what I had to do. And all I'm doing is leveraging what I've created over the last 2 years to where it's a home for all of us. The internet's an incredible place because it's global. You're no longer confined to your local environment, and that way you actually get to go off into, and this is cheesy, quote unquote war with your boys. Not, hey, for the weekends, I live for the weekends, then during the week I hate my life. That's not how we do things here. We are here to take over. I promise you we're going to reign king. Waitlist down below. And guess what? You might just one day be able to have some heart hanging out with all the rest of the Crusaders. It's exactly what I plan on to do. And I'm looking forward to seeing you inside. All right, boys, before we get into this, I will say, since being out here, everything's in kilograms. And honestly, it's clean. Like kilograms versus pounds, I'm not gonna lie, kilos are clean. I really like thinking of things in kilos. But listen, imperial system supremacy, obviously. For my USA boys, I'm a Midwestern kid, you know what I'm saying? But the exercise I'm gonna show you is the dumbbell pullover. And the reason why I'm telling you, before you disrespect it, your issue, a lot of it is in terms of even for the rest of your body, but it's the mobility aspect of this exercise that's incredible because it's thoracic extension and thoracic mobility, which basically most gym goers and participators are really shit with. And they wonder why they feel awful, even if they're jacked, they're stiff. And even on top of it, if you're able to reach new ranges of motion, pause, the more muscle recruitment is involved because you're able to reach ranges of motion that most people cannot, which means it's a more intensive exercise, which is only going to burn more energy. Some people refer to those as calories. I don't like using that word. Story for another day, don't get distracted. But notice I'm straight arm and I'm along the bench. This is how you should be starting, because it's a lot more straightforward. It's a lot more stable for you to kind of get started. Touch. And that's how I personally like to employ these. Now, another variation within the dumbbell pullover. All right, we'll just do a couple reps on this because the setup, it's tough. It's like a little bit tight. And obviously another variation you can do is I front face this freaking plate. But if you really want to crank up the extension aspect, now for chest, I recommend sitting along the bench. Obviously, it's what you came for, but listen, under promise, over deliver. That's what I do. But you want to sink down your hips, not keep them up straight when it comes to, in my opinion, if you're going to go across the bench. Not that this is bad, but you might as well go more stable and get that done. What I like about across is I can sink down my hips and extend further. So I'm increasing my thoracic mobility, and then I kind of hump up in the air as I kind of do it. But that's proper form, because if you want more mobility, then you have to sink down your hips. Or, like I said, for progression wise, if you're going to decide to go across, you can start with your hips up, and then as you need more mobility, you can kind of crank down. And I'm telling you right now, when it comes to the chest, you have no idea. Pullovers are such a game changer, and nobody does them. And it's unbelievable to me because it's doing so much at once. Like even your serratus, like those fish gills that dudes have that you're probably like, dude, that's crazy. People think they're ribs, but they're the serratus. Even in addition, you're going to get tricep activation, back of course, but I really like it for chest, and it's because of the thoracic mobility aspect of it. People really sleep on mobility. Listen, I'm not a bodybuilder looking to flex on the big stage, and yet that. I look better than the people that want to do that. I'm not saying that arrogantly. I'm trying to explain to you and show you, trust me, when you think of things as like, I just want to be physically unlimited. When you think of it that way, it changes everything. And the byproduct is basically the aesthetic you've been chasing. That's why I don't work out for aesthetics. We don't just go for the aesthetics because trust me, we can get that on accident. That's a side effect of something that physically limitless. How do you think you're gonna feel about yourself? How do you think your swagger is gonna change when you go up and talk to people? You have to feel a certain way about yourself, right? Like, of course, being jacked, trust me, is already ahead of like 95% of people, but we can have more. Don't settle. Like, don't ever settle. There's no reason to settle. And people look at that as like, you should be happy with what you got. It's like, I'm appreciative of everything that I do, but because I'm appreciative and I have gratitude, I should crank this up to as far as I can possibly go. That's why, and I swear to you, like in the YouTube comments, it's starting to get nuts, which is kind of cool. More plates, more dates, by the way, dude. If you want to test me on steroids, whenever, bro, whenever, I'm here. Can't wait to prove all these jabronis wrong. But it's the best feeling on earth. When I got started lifting, it was because I wanted non-natural allegations as a complete natural. And people didn't think that that was possible. I was one of the people that used to cope behind this stuff until I had a couple friends of mine that were in ridiculous shape. And I was like, well, you can continuously cope, or you can do what they did completely naturally. Choice is mine. And then when I realized, I'm like, I need to just be brutally honest with myself. And that's the point. You want to be jacked, but you have to allow that to bleed over into your real life. Taking more risks on yourself, having a bit more conviction and confidence behind your words, letting your voice carry, being passionate, caring, wearing your heart on your sleeve and not worrying about, well, what if it gets broken? That's just a weak frame that I refuse to live my life by. I don't make decisions from weakness. And that's kind of what I aim to do, you know, especially in this space that has gone soulless. It's all about the flash. No. When you know, and everybody knows this, when the guy that walks into a room, you can feel his presence when he doesn't give a shit about any of the stuff that basically everyone else is chasing. Because features are just that, they're features. But what does your foundation actually say about you? And this is why, and for those of you that are new here, we have this thing called Crusadia that's coming up on June 22nd. And this is exactly what I aim to do. I aim to change the way even business is done and the way products are set up for people to really genuinely make a difference to where we all have a vested interest in one another versus me being like, this is gonna change your life. Even if I know it's gonna change your life, it should be done together. This whole shit of isolation, everyone living out by themselves. And listen, truth of it is, if you're, you have the opportunity to be with bad company or yourself, you should pick yourself. But when you have the opportunity to be with yourself in good company, you pick good company every single time. Problem is, you probably haven't found it, but that's the beauty of the internet. That's exactly what I've built here. Basically, people that see the world from a similar lens. And now guess what? When you talk to people, it almost feels like, holy shit, like I thought I had to do this alone because, I just didn't think there's anybody else out there like us. And that's what I aim to do. And this is exactly what Crusadia is gonna do. Everyone's gonna be involved, and it's gonna be on you guys to make it what it's gonna be. It's not just me being like, hey, this is gonna change your life for X, Y, and Z reason. No, we should all be building stuff together. No one's ever done that because everyone's like, yeah, I'm the guy, and you click on my video. Screw that shit. Screw it. Anyways, I know it's a little bit of a rant. You're like, I came for, a bigger chest, and why am I getting yelled at? I'm not yelling at you. But anyways, I love you guys. Just understand I'm a very passionate dude. I care a lot, and I know what it's like to not think things are possible, and to kind of hide behind versus the life I'm living right now. In a million years, I never would have thought. I always knew I could do it, but it's different when it happens. There's just nothing like it. You wake up every day just thankful for the opportunity that you have to live life, There's nothing like that. Anyways, I appreciate watching this video. Hope this is well worth your time. If there's anything you guys want specifically, you guys know the deal, the OGs. You drop it down in the comments, and if I see you give a thumbs up, I will make a video on it. As always, y'all, I love you very much. From Uncle Rami to the Natural Crusaders. Crusadia coming to you soon, June 22nd. Be ready. It's our time. I love you guys. Uncle Rami out. Peace.